Hello, greetings everybody. My topic today is mom. My mom discovered racism when she moved from the Midwest to New Jersey in 1948. And I just want to talk about some things about that. And I almost forgot to give praises to the Most High. I don't want to forget him because, like I said before, he's the one and only boss. Now, getting back to this topic, my mother didn't know when she moved to Jersey that that part of New Jersey they didn't like Indians either. Um, when I was a little boy, because I'd be 64 this year, I had to been about 7 or 8. This was still in the 60s, and we lived in like a kind of a mixed neighborhood, but it was mostly African Americans. Only some Native Americans was there. I saw, and my mother had some Native American, a Japanese friend, a lady named Miss Karate. That was her name. I remember her. Well, it was very racism in that part of the little town. Um, if you was a person of color, when you went in, I don't know if y'all ever heard of a store called McCory's and Wolfwords. They had those two stores out in the 60s. If you went inside of a store back then, you'd have to stand up and let the Euros sit down first. My mother never say white. She always say Euro. That show up a European descent. That's what you call a so-called white person. When you, like I said before, when you call them white, it's like giving them power over you. That's why they said white power. So my mother never said that to them. So getting back what I was saying, you can order your food, but you had to stand up and had a sign in there. I remember the sign said, "This chair is for white Christian people." And my mother, she didn't know how it was because she was from the Midwest. My mother wear all her native things all the time, her native clothes, jewelry, and she used to dance for us in the house. Like she used to put on a show for me and my two sisters when I was a little boy. She used to, dance and to do the jingle dress dance. She was doing all that and stuff like that. So back to the store, it was like something like not big as that. Like it was something like Macy's. It had an upstairs and downstairs, had elevators in it, and it was called Wolfworth. So the lady that was behind the counter, the waitress, my mother was like sat down, and all the people looked at her that was Euro descent, and she said, "Ma'am, please stand up because you go." She wasn't a racist, but she would tell my mother she had to stand, but she don't. They would fire me. So they called the cops, and my mother would not get up at first. So my mother showed me a rule book where it says I can't sit down in here. They couldn't show no rule book, so I guess they thought the Euro cops were gonna be on their side. And they wasn't. They said there's no law that says she can't sit in here. This was like about the time when Martin Luther King got, assassinated. There was very prejudice in New Jersey, and I experienced that too. Right along with my mother, we went in a store one time to get it was a restaurant like they sold cheeseburgers and French fries, but we didn't know they didn't want no people of color in there. And I'm standing there watching the little Euro boy play the pinball machine. So he said, "You're not allowed to be in here, or ain't no ends come inside this store. This is an all white person store." That's what he said, but I say Euro. So he hit me in the ear real hard, and I think that's why I have a problem with my ear right now. Sometimes I can't hear out of it good, and sometimes I can't. So I hit him back. So the Euro guy that owned the restaurant, "Y'all get out my store." And my mother and we chased him out of the store. So we never went back in that store. That was West Orange, New Jersey. Very prejudiced there. Then another thing too, back to the Wolfworth store. Um, if you had to go to the bathroom and to use like the bathroom, they had something on the door like you had to pay a nickel to go in the bathroom. If you didn't have a nickel, you couldn't go in there. So my mother did decide to get up I never get they called, I guess, maintenance people. They ripped the seat out and put a new one there. My mother sat down in there. And I know that man mother felt bad, but she never said anything. So it was very difficult. Even when you went to school in Jersey, I went to school and I never get a little Euro boy called me a bad name. So I pushed him in some thorns and they tried to kick me out of the school. So my mother had to come to school. My mother was, you're not going to kick my son out of school. And I almost got ran over by a car when I was going to the school. It's called Hazel Avenue School. I was about 7 or 8 and some Euros trying to run me down with their car, but I made it across the street. And then we lived in an apartment building. We were the first person of color to live in that building. Then there was some Latinos that lived in the building. When too many people started coming in the neighborhood, the fire chief said this is arson. They burned the apartment building down so nobody could come there. You know, of color to live in the neighborhood. It was basically European descent people, but no other person there but them. And it was just bad. So many things happened. I can go on and on forever. Then it was another incident. My mother take care of this little African American boy. I don't even like saying that word either because it's not real. But anyway, he was 2 or 3 at the time, and we went to the drugstore to get some medicine. And some Euro descent boys came out the drugstore. I was a little boy. They shoved me down. They picked him up in his carriage. My mother had him in a carriage because she told us to wait outside. It was so nice. We waited outside. I know it was a nice and sunny day. They picked the little boy carriage up and threw him out in the tree. They wanted the car to run over him. And so my mother told the police. The police came and arrested the boys. And they said, we'll take care of it. They told my mother to come to the police station later. But I know nothing was going to come of it. So the cop drove them around the corner. You know, he let them out of the car. And he said, okay, y'all can go home. And a lady told us what happened, and believe it or not, it was a European descent person, the one that told. She said that the officer let them boys go. So the little boy that we used to take care, his father was a North New Jersey cop, and he made a lot of noise. He got results. If he wasn't a cop, they probably didn't. Even though he was a person of color, they still didn't want to do anything. One thing when you threaten a person about bringing the media and news people in there, they'll try to settle things. Okay, okay, we settled. And that's what they did. Now, when Martin Luther King got shot, I think I had to been about 8 or 9 years old, and my uncle bought me a toy gun rifle, and it did look real. So I was standing downstairs, and I think Martin Luther King just had got shot, and the cops came and thought I had a real gun, and they act like they wanted to shoot my mother. It's just a toy. So my mother said, "Why you give?" Told her brother, "Why you give my son a toy gun?" They was bad about doing things like that then. You know, cops and things. But like I'm saying, I don't want to get off the track. Not all cops are bad. I'm doing another topic. I have to address these audit people because they go too far. They want people to bow down to them, you know, like they gods. And I see what they do. I even seen an audit person got a state trooper killed because every time a state trooper pull over somebody right away, they think the cop is violating the guy's rights. You don't know he could be stopping somebody that's a murderer and stuff like that. But y'all just assume things. Like y'all want the cop to be bad, and then that was the case. And this other person wouldn't leave the cop alone. I'm not hinging your traffic stop. The cop stopped focusing on him and focused on him, and he got the cop shot, but he didn't die. So that's what I'm saying. That's why a lot of times they do being, but everything to them is justified that they right. It's like the Benjamin Franklin, they keep saying that's their forefathers. So I said, I guess your forefathers European descent. They give him credit. They don't give the Indian no credit because they get their constitution from the Six Nations, upstate New York. That's where the Constitution come from. If you don't believe me, look it up. They give credit to all of them people. And I don't want to get off the top, but getting back to Jersey, North New Jersey was very racist. and we had a white neighbor. That's when we discovered he didn't like African Americans. I don't like that word, so I just say a person of color. And he didn't like Indians. He didn't like nobody. Wasn't hardly no Latinos there at that time or Asian people. Just like mostly African American and maybe some Latinos. And we didn't know he was prejudiced until Martin Luther King got shot. And he had a dog and a gate, a German Shepherd. That's when they had army tanks and jeeps downtown on Main Street in New Jersey. It's funny, everywhere you go, you find a Main Street. No matter if it's New York, Connecticut, where I'm at now, you always find one. So he thought the state trooper, not state trooper, he thought the MP was going to be on his side, a military police. And he told him, if you let the dog go, he said, I shoot you and the dog. He said, you're going to shoot a good white Christian man for some ends. And he said, I don't work for you, sir. I work for the President of the United States. And then the guy stopped, so we never spoke to this guy again. He was very racist. Then we had another incident with him another time. This time my mother called the police on him. Halloween came. That's when I used to trick or treat, but I found out what the holidays represent. And he said he was going to give us some candy. All the children came to his door. He had a big, pretty white house. And he said, I'll be back with the candy. He came back with some boiling hot water and tried to scald us. So we had to jump out of the door. And my little cousin fell down and cracked a bone in her ankle because you don't want no hot water. This water was steaming. And we called the police and he got arrested. I don't know. We never saw this man again. But I know he was very, very racist. And Jersey was very racist at that time. All of us was born in Jersey, and it was bad when I was living there. Then we went to from there to New York. And I went to high school and everything in New York, but Jersey was not good to people of color. It's like things ain't changed today. That's why I tell people. People think they know everything, but it's more Native Americans locked up than any other person. They just don't put it on the news because Indians are not important. They want to get rid of us, and I don't like that either. But I want to do my other topic about um, the audit people because uh, I just don't like the way they treat people, and they use that camera and that first, second, third, fourth, fifth amendment, as a weapon. They hide behind that. They use it, like I said, for like a crutch. It's not right, and that's why I'm not checking anybody because I'm a grown man and they're a grown man. But I'm just trying to tell them something. Because once they don't, well, they not above the spiritual people because they just in it too for the money. Because another audit person, why would you do that? A man got killed and his family was standing there, and the cops told him not to film the body. You know he filmed the body anyway. He got in a lot of trouble. I don't know what they did to him. I told you they think they're above her. But why would you do that? And the people grieving the man laying in the street. Even on the news, the like news, they don't show a body. They just like they're blared out. He put it right on YouTube, and the family got real mad. Is that right? No, that's not right. I don't like that either. And I try to be cordial and humble, but they don't know. You gotta, like I said, you gotta know how to control bad spirits, and they got a lot of bad medicine around them. Because otherwise, everybody got freedom of speech, but they chose to cuss people out. And sometimes the person don't even be cussing them back out. And it's like I said, the universe can hear everything you saying. Like I'm talking now, it could be a bad spirit sitting right next to me. Everybody got bad and good number. You got to know how to control the bad, but some people let the bad control them more than the good. That's why martial art they teach you self discipline. That's why when I used to do security in New York, everybody said that guard is so nice. I never had no incident with people. They respect me when I tell them to leave the building and stuff like that. they would leave the building. You know, the children weren't supposed to hang out in the apartment buildings and stuff. They said, "How come the cool Indian guard we would leave the building, but other guards they didn't know how to talk to people. One guard used to walk around with his gun out all the time. He got in trouble for that. That's why you gotta know it. When you talk like that, keep cussing at somebody, and they chose to cuss. They got a bad demon around. They don't know it because otherwise you would be cussing like that. And you keep wishing something to happen to somebody. Don't you know that you have evil thoughts like that? The way I was brought up, you could attract a demon to you, and like you could say, "I wish you would die. I hope you get killed." And the demon is listening to you. He gonna say, "Oh, he wants something to happen. He can backfire and do something to you." And I don't know what state these people in, but I asked the doctor in the hospital about medically exempt. He said I wouldn't give nobody nothing, no medically exempt thing like that when it's a pandemic going on. 'Cause I know a lot of them don't believe that either. And I know because I had COVID and I was in the hospital for 7 days. I could have passed away. I was real, so I could even raise my head up off the bed. And they think this is a joke. Like that's why they think they're above everybody. But I hope y'all like what I'm saying. I'm not trying to belittle no people, person, but they like to do that. And somebody should teach them that their Constitution come from an Indian. If you don't believe me, you can look it up. So they giving the credit all to the so-called white man. I'm not saying I'm not offending anybody, but I don't like to say so-called because all European descent people is not bad. But they used to hide the slaves from them. Even Indians, they would hide them from other Europe because they was being killed. That's why when you gotta be careful what you say in life because it can backfire on you. Karma can come right back. You know what goes around comes around. Because even in a play, you could see a play like a football playing a game, and don't you see that history repeat itself? You can almost see him do the same play and throw the ball in the same sack play that he did a year ago. That's the same thing about people. And you should be a little more respect. I know a lot of cops um, do things different, or some cops are bad, and they always think a cop got to answer them like they're in school, like you the teacher, and they nothing. They got families too. They don't think about that. I heard all the people always say, "I'm not here for the cop. I'm here for you." You don't know what that person did. It's like this lady was in in the hospital I went at, and they said, "Why you got that lady in handcuffs?" I guess they had to bring her there to be treated at the St. Francis Hospital here in Connecticut. She was an elderly African American lady. She was about 89 or something like that. The cops don't let her looks fool you. They think right away they was violating her rights. And sometimes they have to put you in handcuffs. My uncle was a cop in New Jersey. Yeah, sometimes when a person put handcuffs on you, that don't mean you arrested. He just trying to keep you from running because he don't know what's going on. Sometimes the cop pull up, he don't know what's going on, and right away they get attacked by these other people that like they have to think they have to be a mind reader or something. And a lot of good cops have died, but you don't hear them talking about that. They don't show up on sites like that when they see a cop doing a good deed. They only show up if they think the cop is doing something bad. And sometimes you don't even know what's going on. Y'all just assume things that y'all wanted to be bad or y'all want something. You want a cop that react a certain way. And I've seen them also, sometimes when the cop that's standing there, they always say, "Don't engage me." Sometimes, like I said before, the cop don't engage them. They approach the cop and they always try to make him recite the Constitution to them like they children in a public school. And sometimes the cop, I told the cop, "Well, you don't have to answer them." And they always tell the people, "I got good lawyers. I don't care what they're gonna do to me. I'm an Indian. Nobody can tell me anything. The only person can tell me something is God. That's and only the person is their God is money." And I'm not saying all of them like that, like I said before, but some of them is. But getting back to Jersey, that's a prejudiced state. I know my two sisters was in high school, I was about 10, and I don't know if this girl was family was in a mafia or what. She was a 17-year-old Italian girl, and the whole school tried to jump my sister for this girl. I said, what kind of hold she had on all these African American students? Then my sister had to go in the classroom. It was like about 40 African American people chasing them for some little Jenny. I'm not being racist. I'm just saying, why would you do that? That's the same thing about these people that come in our country. Some of them come in here for a better life. Some of them come to this country. They don't care about the people here. And I know for a fact, like my wife would say, you're gonna see her on here one day talking, so she don't feel good. Um, One day you're gonna see what I'm talking about. Like if something bad happened in this country, like I said before, I can say it over and time again. I'm not saying I might be wrong. I could be right. I can admit when I'm not sure of something, but the audit people getting back them, they think they right all the time. They think they genius, like nobody can say anything to them unless you're being spoken to. Like I said, you don't know what kind of day a person have, and I would act funny too if I see a camera in front of my face. Already know they use the cameras in the office. They notice they want everybody to think everything is justified. You know, and so they had to call cops from two different parts of New Jersey because there was so many students. I don't remember. I would ask my sister when I see again, but my mother passed away. I almost forgot my mother passed away in 2013. And sometimes I think about my mother a lot. I love my mother dearly, and I find it easy to say that, hard to say that, but like I did, and she knew it, but I didn't. I didn't holler and said it to her, but she knew. My mother had went to some stuff in Jersey just from being who she are. My mother spoke her native language well. And people said, "Oh, your mother do speak Shoshone." I said, "Yeah, that's." She's when we was at a powwow in Foxwood, the casino. It was some Shoshones came up there. And my mother was in a wheelchair because she couldn't walk anymore, and they were speaking Shoshone to her. She spoke it back, and I don't know why people didn't believe that. Like people tell me, "Oh, you're dark to be an Indian." I said, "Indians come in different flavors, colors." I said, "You watch a lot of cowboy movies." But getting back to what I was saying, I can't even tell you all the stuff that happened to my mother. It would take like 2 or 3 hours and stuff like that. Then you had family. We could lost our apartment and stuff like that. My mother's brother came and picked her up, and we thought he was gonna take us to his house. He took us to the Salvation Army, and they treated us even bad there, real bad. And you had to be in bed at a certain time. They would tell you to cut the lights out and things like that. And we was in Reverend Jesse Jackson. We went to his church one time. Um, Made people think we was part of his church, and we wasn't. We They went to Trenton, New Jersey for supposed to be striking about social service, how they were treating people. But that's for another day. But I always try to be cordial. But things. So and then we moved to New York. We got treated bad again. Like I'm saying, I'm not racist. I have friends of all walks of life, but this guy was just happened to be a Jamaican, and he insulted my mother, and my mother said, "You should be shaming yourself and insulting, the first American. If it wasn't for us getting our land taken, ain't nobody be in this country making money. Even the audit people, they don't see that. All they like is money, and they like to always make the make the cop look bad. I never see them like say one nice thing to a cop. I seen them there wait and wait. The cop till now the cop be minding his business. 'Cause once you get in a debate with them, you through because they would not leave you alone until you say trespass or something like that to get them out the building. And I seen them like put their foot in the door and stuff like that. and they don't ask people how their day going. Only sometimes you don't know how a person's day going. And like it's like I'm quite sure them too. You get up early in the morning, you just want to go do your job the best that you could. You don't need no interruptions. That these people could bother people early in the morning. And the person like, oh God, hang on these people. I got like that on my job. Sometimes you just want to be do your job with no problem, and then somebody come and just mess up your day, and then they be somebody you should stir my peace. How can they stir your peace? You going to where they at? But I guess y'all supposed to be the so-called bosses. I wouldn't answer to none of y'all. I don't care what y'all say or how y'all make people feel. Y'all make people belittle themselves. Like I said before, that's how those people did my mother in Jersey. They made my mother feel like she was nothing. Then she stopped believing in herself for a while. Then she started back up. I said, "Mom, you gotta be strong." I was a little boy, and I was subject to racism at a pub. I was only in a third or fourth grade, and so like that, they wanted us like when we be in the classroom, they wanted us to like let the white children, so-called white children, drink from the fountain first. I said, I was a little boy. I went right up there. I was in line first. That's a problem. People like that think they always have to be right. I never heard one audit person say, "Oh, I was wrong." They always want you to apologize. That's like telling somebody to bow down to you, like the Romans did back in those times. That's why I said people should take a chunk out of history like that. It wasn't good. And there's a lot of things I wanted to say to my mother, but she's not here no more. But her spirit is still here because I have seen her. I told my sister I have seen my mother. Then again, you gotta be careful. Sometimes you think you're seeing a loved one. It could be a demon, so they can make themselves look like you too. But I felt that was my real mother. She passed away that night. I saw her come right to my apartment, even though she was living in New York, and I'm in Connecticut. She was standing right in our apartment in the living room. And they got these other people that I could see. I don't know why these things. I'm telling people too. I don't know why these things happen to me. I'm not like a real religious person, but they chose me for a reason. I have seen these people when I park my car in the back. They call them. They talk about them. Tell them they shadow people. They just stand and look like shadows. I don't know if they good or evil. When I put my headlights on, they put their hands up and like walked away. And see, like me, I'm not looking for clout. I'm just spreading, try to put some joy and happiness in people's life. I'm not about money. I had money before, but when somebody keeps throwing up that they make more money than you, they must be not used to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't say that to nobody. Like my mother said, when a person do you a favor and they throw it back of your face, oh man, you owe me $20. That means he didn't want to do it in the first place. Otherwise, he wouldn't keep bringing it up. If somebody got some money from me, I wouldn't even bring it up, and I just let it, see how long he gonna take. If it's like about a month or 2 months, maybe I say something. But then you don't know the person's situation. Now, if you see a person that's ducking you, I have borrowed, gave money to people. I lent this lady $20, so every time she saw me, she would duck and run behind the like buildings. I would laugh. I'm not gonna beat nobody with $20, but in other people's cases, now some people would take you off the face of the earth for $5. Some people don't use common sense. That's why you gotta think before you speak. That when you do something bad, the consequences, you gotta think of the consequences. You come back to reality, and then you be like, "Wow, I really did that. I'm in jail for 20 years." That's why I tell my son, "Be careful what you say, because a spirit can control you if you let him." Just like a dog or animal, once just like a cat. If a cat found out that he could dominate you, he would dominate you. That's what he is. He's a predator. And people are predators too. They dominate one another. That's why my son, he like animals better than people, because people never speak the truth sometimes. They speak with all kind of lies and stuff like that. And, I'm not trying to make nobody look bad. If somebody don't like what I do, you don't have to look at my stuff. But I'm not trying to get money or hurt somebody. because we all human, we all bleed. But I don't make fun of people's religion. I don't make fun of none of that stuff. I try to learn other cultures. I want to learn to speak Mandarin and Cantonese. My mother spoke a couple of languages. She spoke her native tongue. She spoke Korean. She spoke a little Japanese and stuff like that. I wish I had a. I know some shorty words, but not like a lot. She spoke it fluently, but I'm gonna learn that too. But they said when you don't have your language, you're not whole. So that's why a lot of people is lost. They don't have their language, so they hold on to one part, but they don't have the full amount. My mother did a lot of nice things with people in Jersey. Uh, it just was bad living there, so like that. So she came to New York, and there was no better. With the place we lived in New York, the people was mean to us, telling people that I had a rifle in my car. That's why people get people shot, and I didn't have anything like that. Yep, I remember all that stuff that happened to us in New Jersey, especially my mother, because she went through a lot. We had a whole family breaking our apartment trying to fight us. It was about like 10 people we had to fight. All these people, they were trying to, they didn't like us because they found out we lived in a white neighborhood, so they thought we was, you know how some people think you were trying to be white. We just happened to live there. Because they said, oh, y'all think y'all, just because y'all think y'all better while y'all live in a white neighborhood, they start fighting us, and we didn't bother. We just try to stay to ourselves. But I save that for another one topic. And back to Jersey, um, we had so-called people, Europeans trying to fight us. They didn't like us when we went to school. And the neighborhood we lived in, where the neighborhood was diverse. One side was like a lot of Euros, other side was like Latinos, African Americans, and other people. You might see some natives too throw it in there like us. And we had a friend down the block from us was Apache. She was working there. I don't know. We never saw her too much, but I think she went back. I think she said she was from Arizona. She stayed there for about a year, and people bothered her. But she was like my mother. She was proud of her culture. She always wore something Apache, like a necklace or jewelry or stuff like that. And it was bad in Jersey. Yep, we experienced a lot of racism. My mother, she found out that North New Jersey was a very racist little town. Somebody did something to you, they didn't want to take your statement and stuff. You had to fight for it. We were living right in the times when Martin Luther King had got shot. Some people was like, "Oh, I'm glad he got shot." That's a racist person would say something like that. I just want people to dig down in their soul and talk with respect to people. Stop belittling people or calling people by their name. And just like I tell a lot of my friends of audit people, when they say tyrant or servant, they saying it in a derogatory word or derogatory, like a person call you the N word or a person call a Puerto Rican out his name, or something like that. That's they're not saying that to be nice and stuff like that. And sometimes too, the way you treat a cop, I'm not saying that it's right, but suppose one day that same cop might have to help you, and then you gonna look at him and you probably apologizing to him. That's why you gotta be careful. It's like the cop even said, "Well, I know I'm a public servant, but I still should be treated like a human being." And they rub that in their face when they say, "I'm your boss." I just don't like that. They use that word as a weapon. It's like I said before, a camera is so a weapon. Cameras have got people killed and everything because it hurt just like a bullet. It's like words can hurt you too. It's like somebody stab you or something. Words is very powerful. I guess they must don't know all this because a lot of them, it's not good photographers anyway or journalists because I see them go in buildings and the video was so bored. I had to speed it up. 25 minutes of this filming walls and stuff. He didn't even know what to do. Why you film? I never seen a journalist or a poor reporter, not saying they good. I never see like ABC go in a building and just film a wall for a half an hour. They doing that because they want everybody to think that they got business there. And they ask for these um, request things, like some of them don't really want them. They just ask for that to some make like they business people and stuff. I know like how my mother felt too in Jersey. We had it bad in Jersey. Even when we went living in Brooklyn, a Jamaican security guard. My mother had fell down in our apartment and had 142 stitches. Her whole knee ripped open. She fell on the side of the bed. The point of the railing of the bed cut her. So my mother came to be checked up. I never forget that he was from Jamaica. He was nasty, not because he was Jamaican. He just an individual. So my mother came to the hospital. He snatched my mother's cane out her hand, almost made my mother fall down, and told me she had as a weapon. She was walking on that because she had just to come there to to check on her stitches. We didn't even say nothing. The cops arrested him because my mother hit him and I attacked him. I had a black belt. I was about maybe 24 at the time. So this was like 78, 79, somewhere around there. And the cops would do nothing to me because I was protecting my mother. That's another time she got disrespected. And she got disrespected. You would think that you would think it was a European descent person, but I'm not saying everybody, but we got picked on by African Americans bad. They used to try to fight me all the time because I don't know, maybe they didn't like us. It's like they said in the Bible, everybody can't be what people think they are. Because in the Bible, it said people are going to steal other people's identity. That's what people do. I don't like to either. They keep trying to say that Indians or reservations is not Indians. They trying to say they somebody else. Like I heard a girl say, some Indians, how they make up an Indian, they be white and Chinese and mixed. And like I said, it's so deep. Everything that's not recorded in the Bible don't mean that it's not true. That's why people ask my mother where she come from. You come from another planet or no another country, not planet. My mother said, no, I come from the sky people. She told about somebody that lived someplace else created them. And if natives wasn't who they say they is, I get tired of people saying that. How come they can speak all these languages? Why are you not speaking it if you claim to be that? And then DNA, I heard people say, oh, DNA is not necessary. Yes, it is necessary. I had my DNA done not because I wanted to prove a point. My other son, um, he had problems. So they did my DNA, and the doctor did his DNA. Cody that lives with me now. So they did his DNA. They said, Mr. Wilson, you know your DNA is like 75% native and 1% African American blood and a little European. And they didn't even do my other side of the family yet. So that's why I'm not had to prove nothing to nobody. I know who I am. A lot of people run around here and people think they are Native American. A lot of them be not. You have foreigners saying that they Indians too. I'm not saying all of them do that, but they do. That's why I get so angry when people try to question me all the time. I got questioned by a Puerto Rican guy in the Stop and Shop, and then when I went back up, they had fired him. He's like, "Oh, I thought you. What are you? Like, why you talk?" He sounded just like them other people. Who are you? Well, what are you? I'm Native American. I don't like that word anymore. My mother always call us up indigenous. I mean, original people of the land. He said, "Oh, I thought you were just a black guy with two long braids." So I looked. I didn't say anything. I just went and reported him to his manager, and she said, "Why would he say something like that?" And she fired him and stuff. So, wait, I'm reading something. Yeah, and so So I hope y'all like what I'm saying about my mother discovered racism in Jersey when she moved there in 1948. It was bad. Next time I'll tell you more about my mother. I don't want to, it upset me when I talk about it. But man, my mother was real tight. And I'm just trying to get through to all the people here. I don't hate them or anything, but they misinformed some things like about the Constitution. That didn't come from Franklin. It came from the Six Nations upstate New York. They had the Constitution. And if you don't believe, you can look at that movie Indian the Covered, when a little boy found an Indian doll, he came to life. You would hear the teachers say, "Yes, they got their Constitution from the natives upstate." When all the people say our forefathers, they saying that's he did it by himself. He had no help from nobody else. That's why I got mad. Where you think the Constitution come from? Indians had their own laws and stuff before it was even deuce in this country. So they get so mad about that thin blue line and the American flag wasn't great. They mother don't know how many Indians that the United States Army killed. Indians, most of the Indians they killed with women and children. They mother don't know that because they never speaks about Indians or where they get this stuff from their constitution. They come from the native. They always tell people look that up and it'll tell you. The Constitution come from the Native American that had the Six Nations upstate. That's where they get it from. They might have changed some of it around. So that's why I say when they be saying I obey the law, I be saying whose law? Laws is made up by men. They didn't have no law in this country. That's why I said I know you got to have it now, but the law is illegal too. That they praise so much over like it's God. God is law. God is the boss. So they must remember that. You're supposed to give thanks to the Almighty because if it wasn't for Him, you would even be here to make money and stuff like that. And y'all put down other people, telling people to get a better car. I make more money. You got run over shoes. Who talks like that? They say that because I know everybody got freedom of speech, but I would curb my language sometimes. But they don't bite their tongue for anything and stuff. So if y'all like this video, share, comment, and subscribe. I can't say that right for nothing. I had to get my wife to say that. But I'm just trying to talk and stuff like that. How my mother was experienced racism because she was an Indian. I mean, she got things bad said to her. But when something happened, I have to say that I'm not trying to offend anybody. When something happened to a foreigner, it's pasted all over, all over. When those Indian girls get missing from the reservation, you don't even see it get on the news and stuff like that. And these audit persons should try to be a little more perspective. But I know they're not gonna listen to me because you make the kind of money like that too. They be telling people to get another job. I would want no job like that because I think you making your money off by making other people feel misery. I even hear him say, "I'm not here for your feelings," and stuff like that. You don't know. Sometimes I see maybe a couple of orders like when the lady said, "I don't want to be family." The guy said, "Okay, common courtesy." They don't have common courtesy either for people. They don't care about nobody but their own rights. So everybody to them is like a dog and stuff like that. And when you treat somebody like that, you're gonna get treated like that too. What goes around comes around. You can't hide behind this forever because nothing lasts forever. They might change the law again, then you won't obey that law too. So I'm getting ready to go now. I want to bring my cat in here on the next topic. So I talk to y'all again about my mother experience or my experience when people tried to jump me in high school back in 1975 when I was going to school in Brooklyn. Guys tried to jump me in the bathroom and they didn't like the way I looked. And I didn't follow anybody. I never had a police record. So I had to fight. Two guys came in the bathroom. They didn't know I was a black belt. I kicked one of them in their head right into the glass. You know, you look in the mirror when you be washing your face. The other one I saw, I kicked them right in where the toilet seat is at. And they got up and ran out the bathroom and told the teacher I tried to attack them and stuff like that. And I didn't get in trouble because I was defending myself. I'll save that for another time, but I hope you like what I'm saying. Um, I want to give the most praises to the Most High because if it wasn't here, if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be here. He made me, even though my mother and father made me, but He's responsible for all of this. Nobody, He breathes through you. Every time you breathe it out your nostril. He's giving you the breathe and everything. So that's what you should give the Most High to. I never heard them say, I have a voice. They want to be everybody's voice. It's like when I don't agree with the court system. I mean, if a person to do a horrendous crime or kill somebody, I know people may not agree with me, like some family member. I feel sorry for people when they lose a loved one. Nobody wants to lose a loved one, but when the courts sentence you to death, he's saying the same thing that all the people are doing. He's saying he God. I could take you off the face of the earth, but he really can't punish you, and the jury can't either. That's God. I feel a person be just locked up for a long time and not take their life. When you take their life, you a murderer too, no matter how you look at it. So a lot of the people believe in the law. That ain't right either. Not, I don't believe in killing somebody. I mean, even if they killed somebody, that's not my call. That's supposed to be God's call. You know, man always want to be God. They always create all this stuff. That's why they try and send man up to the moon. Every time they go up to the moon, we have storms and all this stuff. My mother told me that when I was a little boy. 10 years old, when they sent somebody to the moon, you know, it's always raining and stuff like that, but they messing with weather and stuff like that. They make storms. That's what I'm saying. Man want to be God. That's why I think it's in his DNA. I'm a man, but it's not in my DNA to be like that. It's not in my DNA to hurt other people. It's not in my DNA to the talk like I know everything. Like they say they got the answer for everything that they talk about, every solution they got an answer for. And when you do talk to them, they got a word for every time you say to them, they got a word for everything that come out their mouth. Um, I was saying before about policy and all that stuff. Those things are there for a reason. Even though they not the law ain't that right or correct either. I know you got to have law here now because you did have a law in this country, even though they took the land from the Indian and slaughtered all the Indians with this law. That's why I understand why everybody likes this flags. Well, I have family members fought in the war. They said they did it for a paycheck. They didn't give two F's about the flag. And that's why I understand how they respect something that great. I mean, I do respect people. Like I said before, I want to get people wrong and riled up. I do respect people that fought in the war, but I'm not patriotic to the flag because the flag wasn't nice to Indians or slaves. And that's all I got to say. So take care until I talk to y'all again. Danadai Wado. And don't forget, he's the boss, the most high. Thank you. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.